Hi everybody, it's Gemma. Welcome back to Pampered Wolf. Today we're going to be talking all about brow placement and how to trim your brows. How to keep your brows really nice and neat without cutting too much off or leaving too much on. So if you are interested in finding out all about that, then please keep watching. Okay, so firstly, let's just talk about brow placement. Let's get that out of the way straight away. I get so many questions on a daily basis. Where should your brows start? Where should they end? Where should the arch be? Do you know what? There are some guidelines that sort of steer you in the right direction, but these guidelines only work for people with completely symmetrical faces. And let's face it, nobody has a completely symmetrical face. So I'll talk you through the guidelines, but really what you should do is see what works for you. If you want your eyebrows to start here, start them there. If you want your eyebrows to finish here, finish them there. It's all about personal preference and you should do what suits your face. But let's just go with the guidelines that are out there for everybody to view. So if you put a straight edge by the side of your nose, up past the corner of your eye, here is where they say your eyebrow should start. Now that actually works for me. That is where my eyebrow starts. If you go across the center of your pupil when you've got the straight edge at the side of your nose, that's basically where your arch should be. And again, that works for me. This one is if you go right to the corner of your eye while you've got the straight edge pressed up against your nose, that's basically where the brow should end. Now, as you can see, I haven't followed that rule, and the reason I haven't followed that rule is because I'm trying to get my eyebrows to go a little bit more horizontal rather than being so angular, because I feel like when you get a little bit more mature, we can all do with a little bit of a help to sort of lift the eye up a little bit. And as you can see, if you have a little bit of an eye lift, your eyebrows aren't that angular anymore. So I just like my brows to be a little bit more horizontal. So I've chosen to just completely disregard that rule. And so should you. Any of the rules that are in place, there should be no rules in makeup. It should be exactly what you want and what you're comfortable with. So if you want your brow to end right down here, go for it. If that makes you happy, absolutely fine. So those are the guidelines. But again, if you've got a really wide bottom of your nose, your eyebrows are going to start like right over here on your face if you were to follow the guideline, which just wouldn't work. It would look absolutely ridiculous. So it doesn't work for everybody. It really doesn't. It's a useful guide to just have a look to see what the suggestions are before you make your decision. But that's all they are. They're guidelines, they're not rules. You do what you want. So moving swiftly on to actually trimming the brows, let's get down to what this video is actually about. There are a few tips that I'm going to give you in this video. One of them has saved me on numerous occasions. I would have cut off a lot more of my brow hair than was actually necessary, and it would have looked a little bit too sparse if I hadn't done one of these tips. So the first tip that I'm going to give you is do your brows. By all means, you do not need a full face of makeup like I've got on today, but I have done the school run already this morning. I've taken my mother-in-law to the train station, so I've done quite a few things this morning already, and I just felt like sprucing myself up. You do not need a full face of makeup for this look. However, I would recommend that you did your brows and definitely fill them in with a brow pencil. Make sure that the outline of them is clearly visible. They really don't need to look good. You can do them in blue if that's what you want to do, but just make sure that the outline is clearly marked and all the hairs are exactly where you want them to be. Everything's looking good. The second tip that I'm going to give you is go and get yourself some transparent soap. Now the soap that I use is PEARS soap because it's super cheap. One of my subscribers said the other day that her kids call me Super Gemma because I say super a lot. I love that. I think it's fab. I really like that. I call my son Super Seth, so that really warms my heart. Super Gemma and Super Seth all together. So get yourself some transparent soap. It does not need to be PEARS, but like I said, PEARS is so super cheap. Costs about 60p for one bar in the UK. and it will last you a lifetime. It really, really will. So once you've got your transparent soap, whichever brand you choose, just get some water. I'm actually going to use the Urban Decay setting spray, but you really don't need to. Water's free at the end of the day, just use water. And just spray it on the soap, and then get a spoolie and rub your spoolie in the soap until it sort of foams and goes a little bit white. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to comb my hairs up at the beginning of my brow, because this is what I do in the morning. Those tend to stand on end. And I'm going to do the same on this side. I do this process probably once every 2 months. It's not something I do regularly, but if you've got quite bushy brows, maybe you would need to do this more often, but my brows don't grow that quickly. Now, the only hairs I'm actually going to trim are the front ones. I'm actually not going to trim these side ones here because I don't think it's necessary. They're not that long, and the longer they are, the better coverage I get and the more natural my brows actually look. So I'm actually not going to trim any of these. It's personal preference. It's exactly what you want to do at the end of the day. So I'm just going to brush these and make sure that they are completely flat so that they don't get in the way, and make sure these are standing on end. Now, once you've got the soap in there, what the soap actually does is they make the brow hairs a lot stiffer, and they make them so that they are stuck in that place. That means you don't have to get a comb and have the comb in one hand and have the scissors in the other. Just makes things a lot easier to deal with, a lot less cumbersome. Now, the scissors that I'm going to use today are actually nail scissors. I only use these for cutting my brow hairs. I would never use them for anything else because you don't want to blunt them at all. You want to keep these super, super sharp. So I'm using the ones obviously without a curl on the end. These are the flat nail scissors. You can actually buy eyebrow trimming scissors. I just don't see the point. I had these already. These are the ones I'm going to use. So it makes it really, really easy because you've got the soap in your brows already. The brows aren't going to move anywhere. So all you need to do then is very, very slowly just go in time after time and just make sure that one brow hair at a time. And because you've got the outline already, because you've drawn your brows in, you know exactly where you want the brow hairs to stop. You're not going to cut below the line, and you're going to make sure that you don't leave too much over the line. And it is so, so simple. So then just brush through those again. And I've got a nice straight line, all of them really neat. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. Now, I always make sure I go very, very slowly. I got cocky one year and thought I can do this fast and went, it was not good. The outcome was not good. I learned my lesson. So just put those back up again. Make sure both brows are even, which they pretty much are. So, like I said earlier on, I am going to leave it at that because I don't feel the need to trim all these brows. But if you've got quite bushy brows, one, lucky you, seriously blessed in the brow department. What I would do is brush all your brow hairs up and then trim along the top. And once you've trimmed, I would brush all your brow hairs down and repeat the process on the bottom. Now, I'm not blessed like you, so that is not something that I am comfortable doing. I like to keep this area as long as possible because I just feel like the more hair I have in this area and the longer the hairs are, I mean, they don't look untidy, but they do cover more skin, which means I'm having to fill in less of my brows so they look a little bit more natural. So I'm not going to do that today, but at least I've shown you how to do that. if that's what you choose to do. But I do think the main tip in this tutorial is to already have your brows outlined so that you know exactly where you're going to cut. It really does stop you from hesitating and thinking, oh, is that too much? Is that too little? Because you know exactly where you're cutting to. So then if you want to, you can go and wash the soap out of your brows and you can go and do the rest of your makeup if that's what you choose to do. Or you could leave the soap in if you like the defined look that it actually gives your eyebrows. I have done a video all about soap brows. They're basically called Hollywood brows. If you are interested in having a look at that, then I will link that up here for you to watch a little bit later on. I really hope you found this video helpful. If you have, please do give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget I'm also on Instagram. It's at Pampered Wolf, all lowercase, no spaces. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. There is a watermark in this corner. If you click on it, it will take you through to my homepage where you can subscribe. That was a really short video today, wasn't it? Pretty good. Hope you've all got to the end. See you soon. Bye.